Hello everyone, welcome back. This is a live recording of a 50-minute full body flow. So find a little bit of space to move and let's get started. Let's see. We're gonna start sitting down. I'm not gonna use any props myself today. Bo's getting his haircut right now, so I don't think he'll be joining us, but maybe. But let's start in a nice comfy seat. And maybe you'll place your hands on your knees. You can close your eyes whenever you're ready to do so. And then take a slow, deep inhale and bring some length into your spine. As you exhale, if you would like to twist, you can turn your chest over towards the right side, maybe moving your hands. Push the ground away. Turn the chin towards the right side too. And then use an inhale to bring your chest to face forwards again. And then let the exhale take your chest to the other side as well as your chin. Push the ground away. Feel your back, feel your spine. Let an inhale bring you forwards again. If you want to go to the other side one more time, exhale, twist. Take a moment there. Sit a little taller. Soften your shoulders though. And then let an inhale bring you back, facing forwards. And let the exhale take you back over towards the left side. One last time. Push the ground away. Soften your forehead. Just one more breath. And using an inhale to come back and face forwards. Your hands can come back to the knees, maybe your lap. Bring a touch more length into your spine. Your shoulders fall away from your ears and just take a moment. Maybe sitting still. How are you feeling so far today? Notice your breath, but no need to change it at all. Just let your body breathe however it wants to breathe. You notice your belly moving. Notice your sit bones, your glutes kind of press into the ground just a little bit. Let's stay for just another breath or two. You can start to open your eyes, maybe looking down in front of you. Maybe we'll add a shoulder roll here. Start to lift your shoulders up to your ears. Roll them back. Pull them down. And do that again. A really slow, big shoulder roll. And maybe one more. We can start to make our way into tabletop, onto our hands and knees. Spreading your fingers out a little bit wider once you get there, maybe taking your hips for a little bit of a sway side to side. You can move your shoulders side to side, or maybe forwards and back, or maybe even in a circle or half circle shape, just kind of warming up the wrists a little bit. You're making a full circle shape. You can switch directions. Of course, you can skip the movement here. You can be still. Just feel your palms pressing into the ground. Feel your knees, your feet pressing into the ground. And if you are moving around right now, just come back through center. Maybe re-grip your hands. Spread your fingers out a little bit wider. And then take an inhale and drop your belly down. Maybe bend your elbows as you start to lift your chest and your chin. You can straighten your arms a little bit more too. Arching through the back. Stay for an inhale and let the exhale round your spine. Lift your belly button up, tuck your chin, push into your hands, squeeze your belly, rounding the spine. Let an inhale bring you back to a nice, long, flat spine. Tuck your toes under if they're not already. Lift your knees up. And into downward facing dog, push into your hands, maybe a little pedal of the feet. And then using an inhale, start to look forwards to your hands. As you exhale, walk your feet to the top of your mat. Once you get there, you can inhale for a half lift. Bring as much length into your spine as you can. Maybe look forward just a little bit more. As you exhale, full. Bend your knees so that you can plant your hands on the ground and start to step your feet all the way back and into your downward dog. Push into your hands. Let your chest, your head get a little heavier. Just a nice big inhale. Let the exhale bring your knees slowly back down to the ground, back into your tabletop. As you inhale, drop your belly. Maybe bend your elbows to lower a little bit more to the ground, but then as you start to lift your chest and look forwards or up, straighten your arms again. Push into your hands, maybe a little bit into the tops of the toes, or maybe your toes are curled under. Arch your back. Stay for an inhale. Let the exhale lift your belly up, round the spine, tuck the chin, push the ground away from you. A little bit of effort here. Try to spread your shoulder blades apart. Let your next inhale bring you back to a nice long, flat spine. Tuck your toes if they're not already. Lift your knees, downward dog, maybe a quick pedal of the feet. Stay for a breath. And then use an inhale to look forwards to your hands. As you exhale, walk your feet back to the top. Once you get there, inhale. Take your half lift. As you exhale, fold. Plant your hands. Take your feet back into downward facing dog. This time we're going to stay here so you can bring your feet together if you'd like. Option to add your right foot to lift it up into the air as high as you want to go. You can bend that knee or keep the legs straight, just a little three-legged dog. Push into your hands, push into your left foot. Stay for a big inhale. Let the exhale bring your foot down. If you did lift it, inhale, switch sides. Your left foot can lift any amount. You can bend the knee, you can keep the legs straight, and then push the ground away from you. Stay for an inhale. Let the exhale bring your foot down to the ground again. Use an inhale to look forwards to the hands. And exhale, walk your feet to the top of your mat. Once you get there, inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, let's come all the way up to standing this time, reaching up, maybe looking up too. As you exhale, let your arms fall down to your sides. Take a shoulder roll if you want one. Big inhale as you reach up again. Exhale, starting to fold forwards. Inhale as you lift halfway. And exhale, fold. Let's plant our hands. Step back into your downward facing dog. Push the ground away. Take just a nice big inhale. As you exhale, our knees are going to come down into our tabletop. You can keep your knees hip width apart. You could widen your knees, maybe bring your big toes together. Send your hips back towards your heels. Keep your chest lifted a little bit. You could add a little bit of a sway side to side. So either you're in tabletop or you're in child's pose legs, but maybe adding a little bit of movement through the shoulders, maybe through the hips. And if you're pushing your hips back right now in your child's pose, you can lift them up. Bring your knees in so that we're all in tabletop again. We're going to move our right hand either to the middle of the mat, or you could keep it where it was, but starting to turn your chest to the left slowly. If you want to lift your left hand to your hip, you can do that. You can take a peek, maybe past your shoulder, a little twist. Stay for an inhale. Let the exhale bring your left hand down. You might move it to the middle of your mat if that feels a little bit more balanced, but just a little turn of the chest towards the right. Maybe your hand finds your hip. Maybe you gaze just a little bit higher past your shoulder. Maybe you're looking down somewhere in between. Just another inhale here though, and then let the exhale bring you back into your tabletop. Move your hands under your shoulders, spread your fingers out wide, and then as you inhale, drop your belly, bend your elbows, lift your chest, and then maybe straighten the arms too, and hold it here, arching through the back in your cow pose. Stay for an inhale. As you exhale, lift your belly up, round your spine, tuck your chin, push the ground away. Open up between the shoulder blades. Let an inhale bring you back to a nice long spine. You can tuck your toes, lift your knees, downward dog. Use an inhale to look to your hands. As you exhale, walk your feet to the top of your mat. Once you get there, inhale into a half lift. As you exhale, fold forwards. Take an inhale, come all the way up to standing nice and tall. Let's keep our arms reaching up. You could interlace your fingers and push your palms up above you. Make your body as long, as tall as it can be. Maybe you're looking down or forwards, or maybe you're looking up. Try to touch whatever it is that's above you. Stay for an inhale with your arms lifted. Stay standing as you exhale, but let your arms fall down to your sides. Add a shoulder roll in, and then get ready to bend your knees and send your hips back for a little chair pose. You can decide how wide your feet are. Your arms, where are they gonna go? Maybe you're reaching them forwards and fronts. Think long and strong through your spine, sending the hips back just until you feel those quads turn on. If your feet are together and your knees are together, give them a little squeeze together. Nice work, you guys. Where are your arms right now? We're going to straighten our legs and lift our arms back up above us. Make your body as long, as tall as it can be. Maybe you're interlacing your fingers and pushing your palms up above. Maybe you're reaching up without holding the hands together. Maybe you're lifting your toes to push into your feet a little more. Take another inhale with your arms up. As you exhale, let your arms fall to your sides. Stay standing. Maybe a little shoulder roll and find your chair. Bend your knees, send your hips back just until you feel your quads turn on. Wake up, and then you can do what you want with your arms. Forwards, in front of the chest, maybe your hands on your hips. Think long and strong through the spine, though. Squeeze of the belly button in, kind of tuck in the tailbone under, so we're not arching our back right now, even though we have been a lot today already. Nice job, you guys. Letting an inhale bring you back to being as long and as tall as you can. Straighten your legs, reach your arms up, maybe interlace the fingers, push the palms up above you. Maybe you're looking up too. Lastly, are the toes lifted? Maybe, maybe not. One more inhale here. This time as you exhale, we're going to fold all the way down. So fold forwards. Take an inhale and lift halfway. As you exhale, fold down, plant your hands, step your feet back into your downward dog. You can bring your feet together. You can start to lift your right foot up. Any amount, maybe bending the knee, maybe turning your belly button a little bit to the right. You might even look to the right. Push the ground away. Stay for an inhale and let the exhale bring your foot down. Inhale as you switch sides. Lift your left foot any amount. Maybe bending the knee. Maybe looking, opening to the left a little bit too. Push the ground away. A nice big inhale and an exhale to bring your foot down. Stay for an inhale. As you exhale, lower your knees, either tabletop or widen the knees, big toes together. Find your child's pose, but just keep your chest lifted a little. Add your sway side to side if it feels good. You can kind of move the hips a little. Maybe it's just your shoulders or both. And then if you're swaying, you can start to switch sides. If you're pushing your hips back to the heels, you can start to lift them up again. Bring your knees in so that we're all in tabletop. So this time we're going to do that twist again, but you could extend your left leg back or you can stay on your knees. Maybe you're moving your right hand to the middle of your mat a little. And then this is going to get a little wobbly. So push into your left foot, especially if you sent it back long. Push into your right hand. Maybe you're going to start to open the chest towards the left side. Maybe your hand finds your hip. Maybe your gaze starts lifting up to the ceiling. Is anyone outside? Take another inhale and let the exhale bring you back. Plant your left hand. If you did send your leg out long, you can bring it in. You can send your right leg back. Your kickstand, use it. Push into that foot. Left hand might move a little bit to the middle, and then you can slowly open. Turn your chest towards the right side. Take your time and use that back foot. Use your breath and maybe your gaze. Challenge you. Take another inhale. Let the exhale bring you back out of the twist. Hands under the shoulders, both knees under the hips, tabletop. A little sway through the hips if you would like. We're going to come forwards and onto our bellies so you can lower yourself onto your tummy. Take a moment. If you want to stack your palms, rest your forehead or your chin. If you want to add a little bit of a sway of the hips side to side. So now we're going to keep our chest down, our arms on the ground. Give your legs or move your legs a little closer together. We're going to lift our right foot, maybe the knee, maybe the whole leg. See if you can try to make your leg as long as it can be. Pretend somebody's there pulling on your big toe, pulling it away from you. So a little less height and a little more length. Squeeze that leg, squeeze that glute. Another inhale with your right leg, or maybe it's just your toes lifted. Let the exhale lower that leg down. Maybe your legs can be side by side as you start to lift your left foot, maybe your knee, maybe your quads, and then think, somebody's pulling on my big toe to make my leg as long as it can be, and just a little hover. Take another inhale. And let the exhale bring your leg down. Maybe your legs are next to one another. Maybe as you relax and take the hips for a little bit of a sway side to side, maybe you can keep your legs together. Now, just an option. to lift the chest this time, but we're going to do one leg at a time. If you want to lift your chest, it's a little lift of the chest. So just enough to turn on your back. You can have your hands on the ground, just look down just ever so slightly in front of you so your neck is still in line with your spine, and then make that right leg as long as it can be as it starts to float. Squeeze your back body. Pretend someone's pulling on your big toe. Take another inhale. Let the exhale bring your right leg down. Maybe a little squeeze of the legs together. And then you can start to float the left foot, knee, whole entire leg maybe. Make it long. Squeeze your back if your chest is lifting. Relax your face. One more inhale. As you exhale, you can lower your leg down, your chest too. You can stack your palms. Maybe take a sway of the hips side to side. You can bring some space between your legs too, if that's a little bit more comfortable, relaxing. And then we're going to be bringing our left arm out to the side. So nice and straight in line with your shoulder. Let your palm face down. Before you start to roll, just something different to try. Maybe the right hand will find your low back when you're on your belly. Maybe you can slide your right hand towards your left hip while you are on your belly. Now, maybe you want to stay on your belly. Maybe without using your right hand to push into the ground to help you roll over onto your left side, maybe you see what else you've got to use to start to roll. And maybe you come onto your left side, and if your right hand's still on your low back, or maybe the fingertips are touching the ground behind you now, if you like it, stay. If you want to move your right arm in front of you, you could do that as well. And maybe you do need to push into the hand to help you roll onto your side. That's totally fine. Just something different to try. Now, if you do have your hand behind you, your right one, slowly, can we come back onto our bellies? Again, without really using that hand or arm to control us. We've got to use other areas of the body, the core, the legs. Kind of the feet can slow you down from turning over too fast. And then if your arm is still behind you, you might slide it off. Maybe for a moment, we can just stack our palms. Maybe sway the hips. Just take a moment. Notice how you feel. And then as you're ready to switch sides, the right arm, bring it out straight. In line with your shoulder first. Just optional. If that left hand's going to lift and rest on the low back. Palm up, I should say. Should have said. You can move your hand further towards the right hip. Maybe you feel your left shoulder. And then if you want to stay on your belly, stay on your belly. If you want to try to roll, try to roll. You are on your side. Do what you gotta do to slowly come back onto your tummy. Move your left arm first if it's behind you. Move your right arm in as well, maybe. Stacking your palms again. Maybe resting your forehead. Maybe a nice sway of the hips. We're going to be bringing our hands under our shoulders or close to, just to push ourselves up into tabletop. So let's meet on our hands and knees. You want to move a little bit, maybe a hip sway, maybe a shoulder roll. So we're going to go into our cat pose again, where we're lifting our belly, we're rounding through the spine. Now you can keep your hands under your shoulders, fingers pointing forwards. You could try to turn your fingers to point in just towards one another. You could interlace your fingers. So fingers pointing in, either interlaced, closer together, maybe they're not touching, totally up to you. Just a place where you can push into your palms. We're going to lift our bellies up, round through our spine. So kind of squeeze everything in, tuck your chin towards your collarbone, push into the ground. Lift your belly as high as you can lift your belly. Tuck your chin. Stay for another full breath. Squeeze everything. And then as you inhale, just relax. Come back to a long spine. If your fingers are interlaced, let that go. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Maybe take a sway through the hips side to side. We're going to cross our ankles and sit down. If you'd like to bring your legs in front of you, bend your knees, maybe squeeze your knees, give them a little bit of a hug. Now we're going to keep our legs in front of us. You can send your feet a little further out. You can bring your hands behind you to push into the ground so you feel supported. Long and strong through the spine. I know I always say that. You can make your legs as long as they want to be. Spine nice and long. Maybe your toes are pointing up. If you have your hands on the ground behind you, let's keep them there. But you might, as your chest starts to tip forwards a little, you might walk your hands a little closer too, just to keep pushing into them behind you. But they might have to move slightly. Push into those fingertips a little bit. Just a little tip forwards, maybe pointing your toes up. Maybe you can take the bend out of your elbows. So walking, maybe you've got to walk your fingertips back a little to make the arms a little longer. Push into the fingertips just a little bit more. Kind of like you want to lift your hips off the ground. Not going to lift. Hopefully not. And then just using an inhale to slowly bring your chest back up so that you're sitting tall again. And we're just going to move our hands somewhere comfortable. Maybe that's on top of the legs, maybe a little further in front, but you can bend your elbows. You can relax your wrists, even your fingers even. We're going to move our legs into butterfly. So you can start to bend those knees, bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees come out wide. And then same thing. We might bring our hands behind us, push into the fingertips, lengthening through the spine. You can stay here. If you start to tip the chest forwards, maybe you got to walk the hands a little, but think just a little push into those fingers, making those arms as long as they can be. And then as you just kind of push into your hands, try to lift your hips. Don't actually lift your hips, but just a little bit of effort to kind of push into the hands. If you're folding forward, you can let an inhale bring you back up. You can start to relax your arms if you'd like. Move your hands somewhere, bend your elbows, maybe even take a little bit of a shoulder roll. We're going to twist again like we did at the start. If you'd rather sit cross-legged, maybe you can cross your legs the way that you don't usually cross your legs. Maybe you'd like to stay in butterfly. Your hands could find your knees though. You can take an inhale to lengthen your spine. So you exhale, start to turn your chest towards the right. Move your hands if that helps. Keep your spine nice and long. One more breath on this side. And then use an inhale to come forwards again. As you exhale, you can keep going. Twist to the other side. Push your sit bones, your glutes into the ground a little. One more breath on this side, and then using an inhale to come back, face forwards. If you want to take a quick fold with your arms in front, you can, or you can stay sitting nice and tall. You're folding forwards. Start to use an inhale to lift again. If your legs are crossed, if your knees are out wide, we can bring everything together. Maybe take a little bit of a hug. We are going to be laying down though, on our backs. When you're ready to roll down, lay down slowly. Maybe you will hug your knees in towards your chest. Maybe you'll keep your feet on the ground. You're hugging your knees to your chest. You might just notice your hands. How are they holding your legs? Maybe your fingers can point towards one another. Maybe one on each knee. Maybe you can interlace your fingers around your knees, your legs. Kind of snug things up a little more if you want to rock or sway side to side. Add that in as well. If you're hugging your knees to your chest, we're going to start to bring the feet down to the ground. They're already there, great. Maybe we can all interlace our fingers though above the chest. And this time turn the palms to face up. And then maybe our arms can start to fall above the head towards the ground. Maybe we can straighten our legs now out long, make our body as long as it can be. And then finding your banana asana. Move your feet off to the left. Shimmy your shoulders. If you have to release your arms and maybe place them in a different place, you can. Maybe your hands stay interlaced. Curve your body towards the left side. We're going to be starting to move back, maybe with the upper body first. Maybe your hands, if they're still interlaced, maybe they can stay that way. Maybe you can kind of use your shoulders to shimmy your way back. Find center, move your feet back to the middle, and then make your body as long as it can be again. Maybe pushing the palms away, maybe shrugging your shoulders up towards your ears, maybe even pointing your toes a little bit. How long can you be? How tall? And start to move your feet over towards the right side now. And then you can add your upper body. You can shimmy your shoulders. Maybe the hands stay interlaced the whole time. Maybe you got to let that go. Curve your body into your banana. Starting with the upper body. Maybe scooching your way back. Maybe the hands stay interlaced. One more time to bring the feet back through center two. Make your body as long as it can be. Take a nice big inhale, stretch. As you exhale, you can relax a little bit more. You can bring your arms to your sides and you can bend your knees. You might sway your hips a little bit side to side. Let's bring our feet about hip width apart. Scooch our heels as close to our hips as we can get them. Our arms are going to find our sides maybe and stay here. But as we lift our hips up into bridge pose, maybe we'll try to interlace our fingers. Palms would be facing kind of towards the top of your mat, towards your head. Maybe your palms touch one another. As you lift your hips and try to bring your hands together, maybe the palms together, tuck your shoulders under your chest a little bit. You might be lifted a little higher than you're used to in your bridge. Stay for another full breath, pushing the ground away. An extra inhale so that the exhale can slowly bring us down. If your hands are interlaced, let them go. Slowly release your chest, your back, your hips, all the way down to the ground. You can place your arms wherever is comfortable. You can start to sway the knees side to side. Notice how your shoulders feel, your arms, your elbows, your wrists, your fingers. We will be letting our knees tip over to the left side, setting up our twist. Let's just adjust your shoulders a little bit, adjust your legs so they're off to the left side. You're feeling a twist through your back, through your spine. If you do, Bo's coming to show his haircut off. If you do want to move your hands in this twist, the left hand might tuck underneath or behind the right kind of knee quad. And if you can keep your right shoulder down, but maybe bring your right hand to maybe interlace into the left, you might have to move the left hand a little more, maybe to the outer edge of the quad. Snug things up a little bit. Hug your knee towards your chest. Take just one more breath on this side. You're hugging your leg, your knee. You can let it go. We can let a big inhale help us lift our legs back up out of our twist. Lay flat on your back for a moment. Maybe a little sway of the knees side to side. Eventually, we'll switch with our legs tipping over towards the right. Adjust your shoulders. Try to rest them down, plant them down. And then if you don't want to do anything fancy, you don't have to. The right hand wants to hold on to the left leg though. Maybe it tucks underneath. Maybe that knee comes a little closer to your chest. You can do just the right hand option too, but maybe the left hand just fits nice. Take one more breath on this side. Letting your leg go if you're holding it, hugging it. Using a big inhale to lift your legs back up. Lay flat on your back again if you want to keep your feet on the ground. If you want to lift your knees towards your chest, your hands might actually tuck under the calves. Maybe you can hold just the back of the quads close to the knees. Maybe you can press your low back into the ground a little more. Maybe you're swaying a little bit side to side. You have your hands behind your legs. You might move them to the top of the knees again. Maybe try to interlace the fingers over the shins, over the knees, snug things up. And lastly, if you wanted to lift your head and your shoulders and just make yourself into the smallest ball that you can be. And then you can slowly release. Lay down. Bring your feet down. Bring your legs out long. Bring your feet out wide. Place your arms somewhere comfy. Maybe kind of sway your hips a little bit. Squeeze your glutes a little bit, one at a time. Just kind of rock the hips a little. And then you can slow down any movement. Find Shavasana. Enjoy some stillness again. And slowly start to wiggle your fingers, your toes, maybe a little sway of the hips again. You want to reach your arms above your head. Take another nice big stretch. Eventually bending your knees, rolling to one side. You can find your way up and into a comfy seat when you're ready. Maybe bringing your hands together. Take one last breath. Let it go. Awesome practice, you guys. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great rest of the day. Namaste.